Representative, welcome back to the program. You are confident that you have said that vouchers will not pass in the House again this time. Tell us how, though, because there are fewer opponents on both sides. What makes you so confident in this?
I am excited about the individuals that the incoming class. I'm hoping and I'm excited to work with them to defeat this once again. It's been defeated for since the beginning of time here in Texas. We know that it was first introduced in the 1950s. So I'm really hopeful. It's a optimism that we need here in Texas, and we need. But the reality is there is a lot of uncertainty here, and I am not certain that it's not going to pass. But I am hopeful that during this past election, we had a lot of new incoming educators in this freshman class. And
Right.
so I'm hoping that the people in their community are going to continue to put pressure on them. Their school districts are going to continue to put pressure on these individuals. We know that Governor Abbott is up for reelection here in the next the next election. So I'm hoping that the people will continue to put pressure on their representatives and will be able to stop it once again in the House.
You know what I've been asking both sides is whether anyone has actually counted the votes, and it doesn't seem like that's possible just yet. Have you counted the votes yet in the House? Do you know where the numbers stand right now?
No, honestly, we don't, because we're going through so much right now in the transition in the Texas House. And so the reality is when this incoming freshman class came, the vouchers was not a topic of issue, right? They focused on immigration to get the money that came to Texas to remove those representatives who helped us stop voucher last time, to
Right.
help us stop the vouchers last time. These incoming freshmen, their communities were not adequately informed about where the governor and what the issue, where it really stands. So the counting the numbers is still difficult at this time, but I'm hopeful that people will continue to put pressure on their representatives and we'll be able to stop it.
Do you expect school vouchers to actually get a floor vote in the House this session?
I do. I do. It's the time is different today. The reality is, and it was last cycle because of President Trump and his priorities. And so that is scaring a lot of people, I think. And it leaves a lot of unpredictability. Every day we're hearing something different, right? And the difference today is that at the federal level, vouchers, the billionaires are running this country. The billionaires, the oligarchy are running this country, and they stand a lot to gain through vouchers. And so it's a different conversation now, which is why we need more activism and more participation from the people.
If this gets a floor vote, though, that's going to put, Republican members actually on the record, which a lot of them have been trying to avoid.
Yeah, they have been trying to avoid, and it's going to be interesting to watch. The reality is with these incoming freshmen, with the large class of the incoming freshmen and those individuals who are still around here in Dallas County, we have two representatives who voted for vouchers, and we know it's highly unpopular in Texas. Vouchers is not going to save millions of students, which is what we've heard Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick say. The reality is it's 2%. It's 100,000 students who mostly are already going to private schools. And so they don't want the floor vote because they know the truth. The reality is it doesn't help the masses. We have over 5.5 million students in our public schools, and it's going to hurt the overwhelming majority, 98% of our students. And so they don't want it to go to a vote, and there's a reason for that. It's going to hurt Texans, and it's going to hurt our future.
You think Speaker Burrows, though, is facing different headwinds than Speaker Phelan did? You think he'll put this on the floor, though?
He is facing different headwinds. There's so much controversy in his election alone, right? And there's so
Sure.
much at risk for political posturing and political considerations that he needs to make. So maybe he won't. I don't know 100% which way they're going to go. It is going to hurt his party and it's going to hurt his people if they do bring it to the floor. So I'm hopeful that we're able to stop it if it were to come to the floor. But the reality is we have a couple of representatives who are no longer with us that had the backbone to really stand up for our Texas voters and our Texas children, right? And so I am just hopeful that we're going to continue. There's something will happen that will be able to continue to rise up against this, this powerful billionaire backed scheme.
You filed legislation to increase funding for public schools, to increase the per student funding by 45%. It's called the basic allotment for folks who may not know the lingo that legislators and school districts discuss all the time. Have you heard what Speaker Burrows supports, or whether this is going to actually get to the floor?
No, I haven't heard what he supports. I know that he has expressed school choice and has publicly expressed his support for vouchers. It's unfortunate where we're at in politics today and in Texas, right? Where we could have done this last cycle. We could have done this many cycles ago. We had a surplus. We have the opportunity. We have had the opportunity over and over again to be on par with the national levels of funding and basic school allotment. They have
And
chosen not
that's
to.
what this legislation does, is raises it up to the national average, right?
Right, it does. And we have to really think about it and stand back. Where are we getting $1 billion to start this new program and privatize portions of our public education when we haven't even closed the gaping holes of where we've been behind in our public school education? Why not continue to invest in robust opportunities for our public school and raising we're losing teachers left and right. If we raise the basic allotment, we'll continue to be able to really enrich our students and invest in our students instead of divesting from our public education, which we know is the great equalizer. I stand here with you today because of a strong public school education. It was back in the 80s and 90s. Where we are today is a huge disservice to our students.
President Trump has said he wants to eliminate the U.S. Department of Education and let states distribute those grants and those federal funds that normally go to school districts. I'm curious whether you support or oppose that.
Oh, I definitely oppose dismantling the Department of Education. There are some protections that we have for our students through the Department of Education. We've seen what's going on in state and state. They always talk about different patchworks across the country that don't work. This would be one of those. This would be one of those patchworks that do not work. We need to continue to have some basic standards across the country, and leaving it up to Texas, what we've done with our healthcare, what we've done with being number one uninsured in the country. I mean, we've seen what that looks like, and we don't want to go. We don't want to go there with our education, and we're kind of already there, but it's only going to make things worse for us.
Last question here for you. What do you think Democrats are going to get out of this session?
You know, that's a hard question because Democrats, it's a new day. It's just that things are different today with what was happening at the federal level. It's very difficult to be a Democrat in the Texas House in today's society, but I'm hopeful that we'll continue to unite and to defeat really bad legislation that's going to hurt our community. We have 2 years to do this, but we also have 2 years to stop Abbott's agenda. And everything that they do is about reelection. And it is our job to be the party of opposition and really fight this horrible legislation. And so I'm hoping that we can stay united in doing that.
Representative, good to see you. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, sir. Have a great day.